Hi, I'm Luann from Rockin' Book Reviews, and I'm so happy to be here today with Marc Joseph. Now, Marc Joseph and I had another interview with his persona as Gramps Jeffrey and his children's book. But before that, it is amazing all that he has accomplished. I couldn't even begin to list it. But he is the founder of Dallar Days International Incorporated and American Suppliers Incorporated, with more than 30 years in wholesale and retail industry. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Please, what is Dallar Days International? And please tell us what it consists of.
Well, thanks again for inviting me back, because last time we talked, it was my pen name, Gramps Jeffrey, for my children's books, I Don't Want to Turn 3. But before that, I've spent my life in business. And Dallar Days came out of it. We started it in the early 2000s because we felt that the independent businesses were getting ignored by the major suppliers. They were supplying only the big guys. So we created Dallar Days to give the moms and pops a place to buy products at wholesale and closeout prices so that they could compete with the big guys. So Dallar Days started we were on the internet, and which made it that we were right in the beginning of the internet, and gave us a chance to really communicate and be with lots and lots of people all over the country and help them. So that's how Dallar Days started. And then what happened, because Dallar Days was so dominant on the internet, that when Katrina hit, if you remember that back in Louisiana and in Mississippi in the 2005 and 6, because we were so big, we had so many organic words. Organic words are the way that on the internet that you can find things when you're searching. It tells you what's on the top. That were rated 1, 2, and 3. That all of a sudden we were getting these orders from these nonprofit organizations, churches and schools, who were looking to help out the people in Louisiana. Initially they were buying underwear and socks and toothpaste and brushes, but then when they opened up the trailers, they were doing all the kitchen supplies and the bathroom supplies and the bedroom supplies. And that opened up a whole world to us, saying, wow, the nonprofit world is really underserved. So we made a pivot, as you do many times in businesses, and decided to not only go after small businesses, but to go after nonprofits, because they could come to us and buy from us at wholesale and closeout prices to help stretch their dollars so they could help more people. And so that's how that all evolved. And that's how I got involved pretty much in the nonprofit world, is because there was that opportunity to help them too. So that's the evolution of Dallar Days. It's still on the internet. You can still find it. If you're an entrepreneur or small business and wants to start a business, it's a very convenient way to find products to build your brand.
That is fantastic. It's much needed. You earned a Bachelor of Administration and Marketing with a finance minor from Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. Did this happen before, during, or after your ventures with Dallar Days?
Oh, that was when I was a young man. I'm a baby boomer today.
Just a spring chicken, huh?
So my career started in Ohio. I was born and raised outside Columbus in Ohio, a small town called Zanesville, Ohio. And I went to Miami University in Ohio, and I loved it. Great school. It happened to be a very good retailing school. And my senior year in college, it was one of those winters where I caught like 5 colds in a row, and I said, I got to get out of here. I got to go south. And luckily for me, there was a company out of Miami, Florida, called Burdines, which is now Macy's, and they were recruiting. And so I went south, and I got into the department store business. So that's how I started. So Dallar Days came a long way after that, because I was in the department store business, the off-price business, the dollar store business, and manufacturing and so forth. So everybody's career kind of just evolves, and that's how mine evolved. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. My mom, dad, and all my uncles were entrepreneurs, and I said, one day I'm going to do my own thing.
So that's what led to all this ingenious ideas. But you have been really involved in many other companies too, correct?
Yes, yes, I was at the heart of the discount business when it started. So I was with the department stores for 13 years, and then I was recruited to go into the discount business. You know, I worked with a chain out of Jackson, Mississippi. That when I got there, we had 240 stores, and when I left, we had 551 stores. And then I got into the dollar store business right when it was starting up. You know, it was a chain called Everything's a Dollar Store. It really was the first dollar store. And I joined them when they had 49 stores, and I left when we had 440 stores. So I've been doing all kinds of stuff. Then I was involved with the Crown Bookstores, which was the third largest bookstore chain in the country behind Barnes and Noble and Borders. And I was there while we were converting the little stores into these superstores. So it's been a lot of interesting things in retailing that has pushed me to start my own businesses. And I couldn't have started these businesses unless I had that kind of a learning and education. So I urge any of your younger listeners that, you know, if they have this dream of being an entrepreneur, try to pick up some things first. Try to learn from other people first, because, you know, the more knowledge you have, then the safer it's going to be. Because, you know, when you start a business today, you know, they don't all, you know, really succeed. You know, when you start a business today, you know, 20% of the businesses today fail in their first year. You know, and 50% fail in their first 5 years. So this is not a slam dunk when you have this great idea. You know, when you think about it, why does half of the businesses that people here in the U.S. fail within the first 5 years? There's several reasons. You know, one reason, and last time I looked at a survey, this was 42% of why businesses failed, was, you know, there's no market for the products or services you have. So if you have a passion about something, you know, make sure other people have that same passion. You know, and that's one of the beautiful things about the internet, because the internet, whereas if you had a passion for your product and you lived in small town America, there may be 12 other people that have a passion for your product in your town. But now, by going onto the internet and selling on Amazon or Etsy or, you know, eBay, you know, where you only have 10 people in your town that may have interest in your product, you know, you've opened up the world. And all you need is 10 people in every town, and you've created a business. So make sure that if you're going to be starting a business, you know, that you do have a product, a service that other people want. You know, because we all have things that we love, but you got to make sure that happens. You know, the second reason that the small businesses fail during their first 5 years is, and again, I looked at this one's 29% of the reasons that businesses fail, is you don't have enough capital or cash flow to keep the business going. So when you're starting a business, you want to make sure that you have at least 6 months of capital ready, because you may not have sales for 6 months, or the sales may not be there. So even before you start a business, you need to make sure you got enough capital, because we know that, you know, 29% of them fail because you run out of money, and that's no fun. That's no fun. So make sure that you got the dollars there first. You know, and the third reason, you know, that businesses fail, you know, 50% of them after the first 5 years, and this is 23% of why businesses fail, you know, is that there's poor teamwork and communications. So sit back a second. If you're deciding to open up a business, you know, you've got to be able to talk to people. You've got to be able to communicate to people. And more importantly, you've got to be able to hire people that have the same passion that you have to make it successful. So again, I just urge your listeners that if any of them are entrepreneurs or thinking about opening up a business, you know, just you know, think about all those negatives so that you can overcome them before you even open the door.
What about someone like taking out a loan for to start a business? How do they incorporate that?
Well, I don't know if anybody's tried to take out a loan on anything lately. but it is not easy.
Not
You
anymore.
know,
It used to be a lot
I mean,
easier.
these banks, I mean, and I love banks, you know, we all go to banks, but they are adverse to lending money to small people that don't have any collateral to back it up. So, you know, obviously the number one way that entrepreneurs start businesses, they get money from their parents or their friends or their relatives, you know, and they talk them into helping them out. Because if you don't have a business plan and you don't have a history, you know, you go to a bank, you're just wasting everybody's time.
Forget it. Okay, I thought it was interesting. You also have started a change of hair salons. Why hair salons?
Oh, your hair looks good today, by the way. Like I'm a hair salon expert. Well, you know, I was telling you that when I started my career at Burdines, which is now Macy's, you know, I was there for 13 years, and you know, I worked my way up. I was a buyer, and one time I was running the downtown Burdines, which is downtown Miami, Burdines store. It's a great store, a wonderful store. Yeah, it was, you know, and to give you some insight into how department stores work is, you know, in Miami, there was a tremendous amount of traffic coming from Latin America because that's where they welcome a lot of the, you know, our visitors. And so I moved the luggage from the 5th floor down to the 1st floor because we saw that these people were buying all kinds of stuff and they needed something to take it home with. But that's a story for another time. The reason I'm telling you about this downtown Miami Burdines department store when I was running it is our most profitable department was the hair salon. You know, it was up on the 6th floor, and you had to go up there. It wasn't easy, but when you think about it, hair salons, you're not selling really a product; it's people. You know, there's a little product involved. Whereas in a department store, you know, where you're selling women's clothing, you know, they may come in once a month or once every 3 months to buy a dress. But when you're doing your hair salon, the customers repeated weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. So it was the most profitable part of a department store because you didn't have a lot of expense for products, and you know you had a customer that kept coming back. So the long story, to make it short, is that's why I decided that I thought there was real opportunity here, and I live in Arizona, to open up a chain of hair salons. So what I did was I'd go into a shopping mall, and it would be a strip center, and on one side of the center I would put a discount hair salon. You know, you get your hair cut for $8.99. You know, you're in and out, and there's thousands of them all around the country now like that. And on the other side of this, I would put a real salon where you could get your nails done, and they had a masseuse, and it was a tanning bed, and everything that you would think of in a nice salon. And so that way we capture the whole market. I mean, the customers didn't really know that the same person owned both salons, but it gave us a chance to really go in there. And so I started to build that up, and I put together 11 of these hair salons. At the same time, I was starting Dallar Days, and Dallar Days started in my house. And at one time I had 10 people working out of my house, you know, making sure that Dallar Days was working. And so I made the decision that I was going to grow Dallar Days, and I sold the hair salons to some investors.
Wow, that is so amazing. And I had never thought that hair salons were that productive. So learn something new every day. Okay. So your children's books, how did you develop Gramps Jeffrey out of Marc Joseph?
Well, I found that, you know, I've got 6 grandkids, anywhere from 1-year-old to 9-year-old now. And they found, I saw that they very quickly, when they're younger, they could say "guh, guh, guh." So that's why I decided that I wanted to be called Gramps. It was everybody's called Grandpa, so I figured, let's be different. Call me Gramps. And then it happens that my middle name is Jeffrey, Jeffrey. And forever, my wife always spelled it the other way. I couldn't get her to spell it my way. She always was spelling it the other way. So I figured that if I put it on the cover of a book, she'll finally learn how to spell my middle name. And so that's how that came about.
That's interesting. But okay. Your previously published book, The Secrets of Retailing or How to Beat Walmart, you share a lot of insights with other business leaders as well as on upcoming entrepreneurs. How can established business people benefit from your book?
Well, the book is, let me pull a copy of it. Yeah, so you can see it. Whoops, this is the book. All right. Don't wanna, yeah. And the way that I wrote the book is it's 15 chapters. Okay, and so each chapter addresses something different. So there's a whole chapter on how do you hire people, and the secret there is really find people that are smarter than you are and have different skills than you do. But that's how do you build a team. That's one chapter. Another chapter has to do with finding locations if it's a physical store. Another chapter has to do with how do you find your resources, how do you find your products, how do you deal with vendors, and then how do you negotiate with them is another chapter. So it goes on and on and on. There's 15 different chapters. So obviously, what was most heartwarming to me, and when I was on a national book tour when this came out, and so I was all going all over the country, and I would have small businesses, come into my signings and say, this chapter made a difference on how I run my business. I mean, you can't buy that. That's like the greatest feeling in the world, where you are able to help someone, not even knowing you're helping them, but with something that they read that made a difference in making them more successful. And so, that's what I would encourage. If anybody, you maybe one chapter could do it, because it's not a novel where there's a story, there's an ending. This is a business book with how to do it.
So there's plenty also for upcoming people who want to start a business to learn, right?
Well, that's the whole reason that I wrote the book, because I was getting all these calls on how do I start a business. So yes, that really is the purpose of the book. Is this is how you do it. At least this is how I view you should do it.
So it benefits both those in business and those entrepreneurs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because if you've been in business 5 years, it's always good to kind of just get a checkup, see if what you're doing, if you're doing it in the right way, or how did somebody else do something like what you're doing.
Super. Okay. And what is your next big project?
Well, my next big project, my goal, ever since I've written the children's book, I Don't Want to Turn 3. It really is geared to, it's a story, and it's a story that happens in, I am sure, every family that has kids. And it's just because I was able to observe what happened with my 6 grandkids. But it really became important to me that as I was learning more and more about what was going on in the world and my generation, I'm a baby boomer, and that there's so many of my generation that are just not involved in their grandkids' upbringing. They've come. There's a bunch of my peers. They say, "Listen, I raised my kids. It's their business. I got my own things to worry about." Well, I'm on a mission right now to convince grandparents to get more involved in what's happening with their children's lives. Now, when I was a kid, I was lucky. My uncle lived up the street. My grandmother lived a couple blocks away, and we were all together. But in today's world, like me, I've got 2 grandkids here in Arizona. I got 2 in Texas. I got 2 in Orlando, Florida. It's a different world. And so we have just got to work on being more involved and relevant, because as we get older, we do get a little wiser, because we mess up so much that we realize we learn from that. And so that's my mission right now. I'm starting on a whole series of books. I don't want to turn 4. I don't want to turn 5. But my mission is to get grandparents more involved in raising their kids and influencing, because, we have a very short time to live. With this COVID thing that hit us all, we've all lost many, many friends and people. You never know. You're here today, gone tomorrow. So we have got to pass on that knowledge. And so that's my mission.
That's a very noble mission. And you have a giveaway.
Yeah, yes. If anyone would like to have a copy of the book, The Secrets of Retailing, just let us know, and I will be glad to send you a signed copy.
Super. And we'll be running the giveaway through most of January. So, okay. Is there any final comments you'd like to make before we close?
Yes, if any of your listeners would like to talk about either the children's book or business, or if you're thinking about opening a business, please contact me. I'd love to do it because that's as I get older, that's what I love to do. And you can reach me at grampsjeffrey@gmail.com. That's grampsjeffrey@gmail.com.
That's easy enough.
Yeah.
And we will post it also on the site.
Great.
It's been a pleasure. And I'm just, like I said, your bios that I've read are overwhelming. I just can't imagine all that you've accomplished. You should feel good.
Well, thanks for inviting me. Again, let's everybody can feel good. Let's everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Let me know. I'd be glad to help.
Okay. And I also, again, recommend the children's book. It was, whoever thought of, I don't want to turn 3. I thought that was ingenious. Okay. And
Thanks again for having me
tonight now. And we hope that you'll search the universe through books. And we'll say goodbye for now. Bye.